The Chargers fall to 4-6 after losing to the Packers. And Brandon Staley continues to say that he has good game plans, but the players are not executing.
Every week we're talking about fundamentals. Every week we show them the officiating videos. Every week we're talking about it. And so all we can continue to do is emphasize it. And I know that our coaching staff's doing that. I know that the message is getting across. We're not getting the execution on the field.
Now, I would actually argue that it is his game plan that teams are attacking, and the players would execute more often if he put them in a better position to succeed. And let me explain to you what I'm talking about. And while I do, make sure to like and subscribe to this video. If you do enjoy this content, it's been a rough year, but we stay bolted up around here. Now listen, man, this Chargers defense has had some consistent issues throughout this entire freaking season. Teams attack the middle of the field, and more often than not, it works. Now, you could blame this on Kenneth Murray and Eric Kendricks, right? The two middle linebackers in this defense. But there is another player who roams the middle of the field often that Brandon Staley has designed this defense around. Derwin James. Derwin James has not been great this year and has been nowhere near the best safety in the NFL, which we all thought he would be, and he's also being paid like it. There's often a sentiment that people have where they think the Chargers are a cheap team and they aren't willing to spend the money to field a good roster with good coaches and a good front office. I mean, listen to what Colin Cowherd said on his show.
Well, and also the Spanoses have been cheap with coaches. There's been some first round holdouts. Brian Daboll was sitting there. Brian Daboll wanted Justin Herbert. Brian Daboll wanted the job. Tom Telesco knows Brian Daboll. They've known each other for years, and the Spanos family went cheap.
But the Chargers have 7 guys making more than $10 million a year, and a lot of those guys are either not contributing right now or have not been playing up to their contract. From top to bottom, we have Justin Herbert getting $52.5 million per year starting next season, off to a pretty good start right there. I'm good with that. Joey Bosa with $27 million per year, and he's been having one of his, arguably his worst season of his career under Brandon Staley, and now he just got injured, and I hope that he can come back and get right. But then we have Khalil Mack, $23.5 per year, who has been performing up to that contract, just like Keenan Allen at $20 million a year right underneath him. So we're doing pretty good right now. But then we have 3 guys that are either not contributing on this team or have not been playing well. And it is Mike Williams, Derwin James, and Corey Linsley. Also, right under that $10 million a year mark is Michael Davis and Trey Pipkins, making more than most of the players on this team. And those are also 2 of the guys that are struggling the most on this roster. When you look at this roster and the guys that are making all of this money, you kind of start to wonder, how in the world did they get those contracts playing the way that they are on the field right now? Well, before Brandon Staley took over, these defensive players were playing much better. Joey Bosa and Derwin James are having their worst season under Brandon Staley this year. And when you look at the PFF grades since Staley took over, they have both trended down to this point. And it's not just the leaders on this defense, man, that have been playing worse. It is everybody. Asante Samuel Jr. has regressed. Michael Davis has regressed. Morgan Fox has regressed. Almost all of the players that got you into the playoffs last season on defense have taken a step back, and I don't think the problem is execution, although at times, yes, the players do not execute. Okay, Brandon Staley, you're half right. I think the issue, though, the main issue is Brandon Staley's defensive philosophy that is making these players play worse than they actually are. Like I said previously, in the middle of the field, it is open all the time, but you have Derwin James roaming the middle in his star role that you designed specifically for him. So why is that an issue? The Chargers pass rush has been extremely inconsistent this year, but you have Joey Bosa and you have Khalil Mack, 2 elite edge rushers, right? And now you have another star in the making with Tuli Tuipulotu, bro. That guy's so freaking good. So why can you not rush the passer half the time? Opposing offenses frequently take advantage of the space that the DBs give up on the perimeter. So why are you still doing it, bro? Here are the answers, okay? I got the answers for you. Brandon Staley's zone coverage is easy to beat over the middle because you can suck the linebackers underneath or take them way outside in the flats and then you only have Derwin James between the numbers on the routes behind the linebackers. The pass rush is inconsistent because Brandon Staley likes to drop his edge rushers into coverage based off of the alignment of the offense. And also, he rarely calls blitzes. When he does, it's a linebacker over the middle. The stump moves work really well with Tuli Tuipulotu. That is one thing that I will give him credit on. And why does he continue to give up all the space on the perimeter with his outside corners? Because he's too stubborn to change his game plan, and he stands by having good game plans every freaking week, but the players simply can't execute his defensive genius game plan, man. I don't know how many times I've said these same things over and over again, but you should almost always rush your best edge rushers, especially when now you have depth issues at that position. That is the only way that you are going to get to the quarterback, is when you rush those guys. You should never drop them into coverage at this point in the season. And you should play closer to the line with these cornerbacks because they are terrible at coming downfield to tackle, man. They have missed so many tackles, and you should stop playing the safeties so deep, because you isolate the middle and intermediate fields for just Derwin James or Kenneth Murray. And I know for a fact that Staley sees these issues on defense and tells the players about them, yet they do nothing to fix it. And they just need to execute better. No, dude, that is the most frustrating thing about this. If these problems are a consistent issue, then there is a deeper problem on this defense, and it is the game plan. Jordan Love threw for his first 300-yard game against us, and the Packers scored the most points that they have all season. And I called it, man, in my video last week. I literally knew the Packers offense was going to have a good game because of the way this defense plays against teams like that. And listen, man, it's not just this defense of Brandon Staley that makes me want to bang my head against a freaking wall. It's the offense at times too. It's really inconsistent. Every part of this team is inconsistent. Justin Herbert is the entire offense, man. And if he were not using his legs and his arm to elevate this team, the Chargers would have been blown out against the Packers. The Chargers can't run the ball, and check this stat out. They are literally the worst rushing offense in the past 10 years, yet they continue to run the ball on early downs, and the offense continues to struggle because they are behind the sticks often, even when Justin Herbert plays at such an elite level and puts the team on his back. This stat line would have looked a lot better for him if his receivers did not drop 6 balls, and 2 of those would have definitely been touchdowns, and you could even argue 3 of those should have been touchdowns. When guys start dropping easy passes like that, and even Keenan Allen had like 2 drops in this game, and the offensive line cannot run block, and your defense cannot stop anybody, that is a sign that Staley has lost this locker room. The guys don't seem passionate and focused anymore. The best thing about this team is Justin Herbert, and when he doesn't play like a world beater, then this offense is nowhere to be found. I would put Brandon Staley up there with one of the worst head coaches in the NFL at this point because of all of these issues that we have seen over the years, and they've just all compounded, and it sucks to feel like he's wasted so much talent on this team. But hopefully we find a good head coach next year. I don't know, Ben Johnston, Bill Belichick, somebody. But that is basically how I feel today. I'm really, really frustrated with this team, and specifically Brandon Staley. I don't know too much about Kellen Moore right now. I don't know if I want him to stick around for this next regime. We'll see throughout this next part of the season. But if you want to see my immediate reaction to the Packers game, you can watch that right here.